My name is Kevin Moore, and since 2015, I started to practice a form of communication which is termed channeling.
I'm Pia and we've been doing this work for a couple of decades. I'm from New Mexico.
I'm Cullen Smith, and we've been involved with these wonderful, loving Pleiadian beings for over a decade, for many, many, many years. And we've been primarily living in New Mexico and traveling the world, bringing this information as widely as we possibly can.
But they've been working with us longer than we knew that we were working with them. They have told us many times of specific incidences in our lives where they have been there present working with us. So it's a question of how long have we been working with them and how long have they been working with us. We've been working with other realms since we were children. The work with Laarkmaa began when the two of us joined our lives together.
It began immediately. We began to notice changes in our environment. We began to notice that there were sounds, there were energies, there were all kinds of experiences that allowed us to know that something new was happening in our lives.
One night we came home from dinner and we were parked outside of our house. The lights were still on because we were talking in the car. And all of a sudden I looked at Cullen and said, "Did you see that?" And he said, "Yes, I did." 4 beings went right in front of the car, right in front of us. And then 2 more came along, and there were 6 of them. It was very obvious, and we didn't know what that was, but we soon came to find out that was our new friends. We met in an art gallery, and I invited Cullen to go for a walk. And we sat under a new moon for
hours on end.
And hours. And we were very reluctant to part, but I had an early drive the next morning, so we said goodnight and agreed to write to each other. And we wrote to each other only, no telephone calls, no getting in touch, for 6.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 6.5 months, he wrote me a note saying, "Would there be anything wrong with a telephone call?" And I sent him my phone number, and he called me. And the first thing he said was,
"I love you, and would you like to spend the rest of your life with me?"
And I said yes.
And we immediately began absolutely the most important relationship that we've ever experienced together. And we believe that joining of our energies brought our friends Laarkmaa to us.
Was there anything in your reference that anything like this was ever going to happen in your life? Was there any sort of precognition or just anything that came to you before that this potential was there?
Yes and no. Not this specific incident. We never expected that we'd be bringing through a voice of other beings, but we had a great deal of experience with communicating with other realms all of our lives. It's very normal for us.
We didn't know specifically it would be a group of Pleiadians, but we had both been in contact with other realms, other kingdoms, and actually I thought that I would be communicating either with the Davic kingdom or with some natural kingdom here on Earth. And so beings from another place was a bit of a surprise.
Had you come across the Pleiadians before in any other channel material? Or?
Oh, yes.
We were aware of them.
Yes, for years.
For years, certainly.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, and to be doing this work must have been, a bit of a... Well, what was it like when Laarkmaa came through for the first time? What was that experience like?
Well, it's interesting because we noticed that many other people who communicate with other realms will tell us, or we'll see on videos, that they went to a class and they learned how to communicate. And it wasn't like that for us at all. Because we've been communicating with other realms all of our lives, when Laarkmaa started talking to us, it was an instantaneous thing. It just happened. They got our attention.
It wasn't verbal in the beginning. It was messages that we were receiving non-verbally, simply. This is strange to explain. It's as though we were being given thought messages
Simultaneously.
and we would get a piece of information and we would look at each other and we would say, "Did you just get this piece of information?" And the other one would say, "This is what I heard." And we would realize that we were getting absolutely verbatim, completely identical information. And that went on for a number of weeks. And then we realized that there was something more. There was something to develop. And we began actually speaking the words, the messages.
For a great deal of time, we simultaneously spoke the message that came through. And to fast forward a little bit, when we began to share this with the world and we went public, we learned very quickly that that was very confusing for people to see the words simultaneously coming out of both of our mouths. So Laarkmaa made an executive decision and chose me and said, "We will use your voice tones to bring forth the message, but we have to have both of you touching and receiving the messages simultaneously before we will give the messages out." So that's the protocol they set up, and we've been following it ever since.
And how have people received the work?
Most people, when they receive or find it for the first time, say that it absolutely gives them chills and it resonates in their heart because they know it's the truth. Laarkmaa is not a group that tries to tell you about future or make predictions. They want all humanity to awaken to the powers we hold within us. So therefore, the way they present their information usually impacts people, that they say, "Oh, I've always known what they're telling me, but I just forgot." So immediately resonates as truth for most people.
And just to explain Laarkmaa, is Laarkmaa a single collective consciousness, or is it a group of collective consciousness coming through as one voice?
Well, that's a very interesting question. When we first met them, they said the most amazing thing. They said, "We are one of six and six of one." And we had to think about that. We had to think, what exactly does that mean? And they quite quickly explained, we are a group, a unified group of six energies, yet we still hold individual personalities. And they went on to explain that that is their understanding of what unity means. They are individuals, but they work as a group for the highest good of that group and all others.
A very discerning ear can hear a little bit of difference between separate times that Laarkmaa speaks. And a discerning ear who listens to Laarkmaa regularly can tell it's a different one of the six speaking.
And has Laarkmaa come through for anyone else, or is this a special connection that you guys have got with Laarkmaa?
They will only vocally come through the two of us because they are using the libraries of our brains, and they love to embarrass us in public and tell everybody exactly how opposite we are. You know, if I'm hot, he's cold. If he's cold, I'm hot. I mean, we think differently. We have the same worldview, the same heart understanding.
But our outer personalities are absolutely diametric. And they explained to us originally, and then to the public as they've been speaking all of these years, that they chose us because we cancel out any personal opinion, any human filterization because of our differences. And so we bring a pure quality to the information that they're sharing for humanity. And we do know that that's a little unique. We must, as Pia said, be holding hands. We have to be touching. And so there are many, many channelers, as you know, worldwide. But what we do is slightly different.
And how would you classify that difference?
Well, I'm not simply sitting here with a voice coming through me and Cullen grounding me. If he were to disconnect, it's not that I would lose my grounding, I would lose the connection to Laarkmaa, because they absolutely have to be streaming the information through both of our brains simultaneously. They say that they use the libraries of our brains to bring the information through. Now, we do personal synchronizations with other people, which is Laarkmaa's term that they've decided for when they synchronize their energy to another human and will converse with another human. So they do talk to other people, but only through our voice. Once they've made connections with someone else, other people can talk to them and they may get mental messages, but they will not come through another voice.
Okay. Would you say your message is different in the message of Laarkmaa is different in some aspects to other channelers? Or have you not really, if you sort of, just kept this work's been enough to keep you going, do you know what I mean, rather than see what everyone else is doing? But would you say that there's a different flavour to Laarkmaa?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We do indeed listen to other channelings, so we're quite familiar with what's going around the world at this time. And I think there's a great deal of difference in what Laarkmaa's message is about. They are only here because they love humanity and they want to help us evolve. They want us to grow and extend our understanding of cosmic truth, not just the physical 3D world we live in. So they're only positive in what they have to communicate. They don't share gloom and doom. They don't share predictions of cataclysmic events. They don't try to add any fear to the huge amount of fear that already exists within humanity. They're heart-based, and their aim is to help us remember that love is the highest and the most powerful energy in the universe. So I think I would say their way of communicating to humanity is possibly much more powerful in a positive sense than a degrading or fear-based.
Many of the things that we listen to are very sensationalistic and very fear-based, and perhaps there's a purpose for that. There are things that are going on in the world that people need to wake up and be aware of. So I'm not saying that there's not a purpose for it, but that's not the way Laarkmaa chooses to help people open and awaken. They want us to awaken to our own power.
Thank you. And when you connect with Laarkmaa, is it like us? There's someone like me physically here, and I can hear there's someone wants to connect to me, and I'm now being channeled. Or are you connecting to a consciousness, some sort of aspect of this consciousness of Laarkmaa? Is it real time, or is it sort of ununderstandable in that space? Is it?
Well, Laarkmaa says time doesn't exist. What it is for us is an interdimensional experience where we no longer are focused on our third dimensional reality. There's a shift of energy. Whenever Laarkmaa starts to speak, both of us yawn to readjust to the energy.
We have to equalize the difference in the high vibration of what they are to our third dimensional denser vibration. So we yawn or we take in breath to compensate for the difference in the frequencies. And to answer your question more fully, we don't give ourselves over to them. They don't possess us, but at the same time, we become them because they become us.
We merge our energies together, the Pleiadians and the two humans. So we become merged.
So they're based not in an understanding like this reality. Their reality is something maybe as real as this, but in a different perception, a different dimension.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
They're multidimensional. They can see things from many perspectives and multidimensional, which is why their wisdom is very helpful for humanity, because humanity's viewpoint is very focused on 3D. And to invite in another perspective that's multidimensional helps us to grow.
So would you say they're not, if you were to go out there and try to find them in this universe, you would not find them, but maybe in a parallel universe or some other dimensional universe?
Well, all I can say to that is they did walk right in front of our car. So I think they can access any dimension they choose.
We see them in various dimensional aspects. They're shapeshifters. They are omnipresent, as Pia mentioned. They can make themselves available in the oddest, the most bizarre to us constellation of energies. We can see them as animals. We can see them as wisps of energy traveling
through the room,
by us, around us. We can feel their energy.
We can sometimes see them in a sort of a humanoid shape, but a little bit different. I think, go ahead.
More gossamer, more less dense, but yet still in a humanoid design.
Many people we've listened to who channel Pleiadians will describe the Pleiadians and say, well, they look like this, they look like humans, or they're really tall, or they're blonde, or they'll have all these descriptors for them, and I don't doubt that that's true for that person, but they may not recognize the higher awareness that the Pleiadians can shapeshift into whatever form they want to be because they're multidimensional. So they may appear for one person looking one way and for another person looking another way, and the more the collective looks and expects Pleiadians to appear a certain way, the more you'll hear certain stories about they look like this.
So our understanding of what the Pleiadians could really be could be actually so different to what the actual potential of the reality is.
Yes.
Absolutely. The potential for what the Pleiadians actually are is much larger than what we as humans may perceive them to be.
Their perspective is so much greater than our third dimensional perspective. They're able to explain different realms, different dimensions, different experiences in ways that most humans are not ready yet to have as a perspective. They're able to help us see that we're focused, as Pia said, on a third dimensional aspect of all the dimensions. And I think part of their role is to help us see that it's a bigger picture.
How does that help the person suffering from depression, or the woman who's going through some major struggle, whatever, it's all the guy as well, whatever more mundane things that we have? I mean, I think it does. Right, I know it does, looking at these bigger questions, but for those watching this, if we get too far out, does it keep it grounded enough to help the present moment, the present situations that are going on right now?
That would depend upon how open the human is to receiving the information.
But
if someone is very, very stuck in a particular situation and not open to even watching the video, the documentary, then they would never see it to begin with. So if they find the video and they're watching it, obviously part of them is ready to change. And that simple opening and being ready to change allows the information to help them make whatever changes are necessary.
But I also think that someone in distress, someone in crisis, hearing an alternative scenario to change their personal predicament. I think if another energy can explain that there's another way, another possibility of stepping out of pain, stepping out of suffering, because those are not the only perspectives that we can have. I think, yes, listening to them or feeling their energy can certainly be uplifting and have the ability to change people who are stuck in a certain suffering situation.
And the people that resonate with your work, that are stuck in that situation, that do come across your work where it does heal them and it sets them on their path to spirituality or their greater reality, the only way for them to have that wake up was to get someone like Laarkmaa, who was the sort of an ET presence in a sense. Any other way they wouldn't have resonated with.
Well,
I think
truth
that's
comes in
what-
many forms. And Laarkmaa has the ability to be able to access what form this particular person needs truth to show. They are able to say, oh, here's a portal of opening right here, where someone can perceive what we have to say, so they have the ability to present what needs to be said in a way that a particular person needs to hear it.
From an individual point of view, when Laarkmaa synchronizes their energy with someone that they're working with, they have the ability to scan the person's energy field, and they know where the blockages are, they know where the trauma is, and they are able to talk through those barriers or those stumbling blocks in order to help the person they're working with actually see, oh, there is another perspective, there is something I can do, there is change available. All I have to do is look at my belief systems, look at my habitual behaviors, and maybe I can simply reprogram, re-look at how I'm doing what I'm doing. And that can be an opening for people that can change their lives.
What do you think about the state of play with the amount of channels out there now? I mean, the channeling phenomena is increasing. There are more and more people experiencing this phenomena. Is there something? Is this the evolution from being a psychic medium to being a channeler? Is there some sort of transformational evolution taking place out there?
I think yes would be the answer to that, and I would add, there are so many non-human energies who have been waiting for humanity to wake up to the point where they're able individually to access all of this information and all of this wisdom. And I think this is the time right now in our human evolution to open that up so that there can be many, many channelers doing similar work, bringing the truth in differing ways.
I would match that by saying the evolving consciousness of humanity is reaching the point where those who have been waiting are able to actually access more people who are willing to serve in this role also. So it's a match. There's all the humans who wish to be of service and who are opening up to be able to receive information and to share it with the world. And then there's all the ones that Cullen was just discussing who've been waiting to help to share their information. So it's a match. It's perfect timing.
Since meeting Laarkmaa, we have been shown that this is the work that we're here to be doing at this time, that we've been preparing all of this lifetime for the service that Laarkmaa is helping us help others through, and that this work is absolutely the most important thing that we've done in our evolution, in working with the earth and humanity and all of the kingdoms and all of the realms.
We weren't hesitant one bit to step away from professional careers. Me as a clinical psychologist, Cullen.
As an anthropologist and archaeologist.
There was no hesitation when they asked us, would we like to do this work? We said yes, and we stepped away from our professions to putting all our attention and our love into this work.
And it's been absolutely rewarding, and we are energized whenever we're involved with this work. It helps us with our own personal lives as well as helping others. So it's been an amazing collaboration between different species, and we are so happy and fulfilled being involved in this work. It's been a very, very good relationship.
And how have you kept yourselves grounded?
Oh, that's
nature.
That's an easy one. We spend as much time in nature as possible. We feel that nature is absolutely the best recharging, enlivening aspect of life on this planet. And part of Laarkmaa's role is to help people understand that they have lost their connection, for the most part, with nature. We are nature. Humanity is part of the natural kingdom. And so the more time any of us can spend in nature, the more balanced, the more fulfilled, and the more enlivened we become.
That's absolutely the most essential thing that keeps us grounded and balanced. There's a secondary thing that keeps us very much in the third dimension, though, and that is the work we have been doing to get Laarkmaa's work into written form. They have given us 3 books that they have offered for humanity to have a broader perspective. The first one, Conversations with Laarkmaa, is just sort of a question-answer dialogue about the nature of reality. The second one, Laarkmaa speaks about healing the human condition. That one is called Remembering Who We Are, and it's about healing our viewpoint of being human and how to stretch beyond and expand ourselves. And the third one is how to step out of time and begin to work with energy. So working with the publishing companies, it will always keep us grounded in 3D. Hello, dear ones. We are Laarkmaa, and we are here because we love you. We are here to help humanity evolve. You have such great potential. You have such opportunity to understand and learn about the power you have within you to become all that you can be. You have something specifically for humans that is called the power of choice. You have choice in every given moment to what you think, to what you feel, and to how you choose your actions. This is the greatest power that you have. And when you begin to align the power of choice with what you know about reality, choosing for the highest good of all, you automatically open up doors of perception to other ways of being. When you further begin to understand the principle of what we call in Lakesh, I am another yourself, then you recognize the greatest principle that you are energy, and that everyone you meet is also energy, and everything on your planet is energy, and everything in the universe is energy. So you can no longer discriminate or discern, I am this and this is that. You have a more unified view of, I am this and this is that, but we are one, showing different perspectives of the same thing. You begin to understand more and more how you are united and how you have very valuable individual aspects, but it takes each individual aspect to combine together to make the unified whole that you are as a species. So you are collectively evolving into a higher energetic presentation of energy, the new humans, those who are capable of understanding how everything that you do through every choice you make impacts and affects all others in the universe. We are excited to be here supporting you during this awakening, during this understanding of the power that you hold within you, as you begin to learn that you are not under the control of other beings, that nobody else can tell you what to think or how to feel or what to do, that you yourselves are the only ones who can determine what is the right choice of action, what is the right course of your thoughts, how can you channel your thoughts into positive vibrations and remove your thoughts from those things such as worry and fear. We are here to help you remember that all wisdom lives already within your hearts. For that heart is the connection to Source, the connection to all that is, the connection to all wisdom that you wish to seek, everything that can help you balance and bring yourself into a state of harmony, everything that can help you to provide for yourselves in the way that you have everything you need without being concerned for such third-dimensional aspects as money or shelter or food. If you are operating from a place of knowing that everything you need is already there, and the wisdom that you can connect with all others through heart love, through connection through your heart, then you begin to separate the idea of separation completely out of your reality. You begin to lose the idea, the concept of separation, and you begin to think in terms of unity instead. And that helps you to move into being able to manifest everything that you need for your highest good and for the highest good of all others. We would like to see humans begin to understand the concept of En Lakesh, I am another yourself. We would like to see humans begin to understand the concept of Ahimsa, that is, do no harm. When you can begin to stop being afraid that someone is going to hurt you or that you have to compete in order to survive, all these concepts that you have been taught through what Cullen calls bad training from religion, bad training from education, bad training from social systems, bad training from your government, bad training from all things that you've believed that are not really true. When you can step outside of that bad training and open to recognizing there is a larger truth, then you can begin to see through the eyes of love. That is when you can step into understanding unity. That is when you can stop being afraid of one another, and all boundaries will go away, for you will know that there is no need to be separated into a particular country that is the only country you are allegiant to. Instead, you will begin to understand all countries are part of the same human race. And then once you begin to unify your countries on this planet, you can become cosmic citizens, beginning to recognize that you are citizens of the universe. But none of this can be done until you step outside of your belief systems that are based upon fear. Fear that you will not have enough, fear that you will not be good enough, fear that you are not loved, fear that you will be abandoned. All of the fears that exist within the human psyche need to be dissolved through the power of love. And you carry that very power within your own heart. And every time you connect with one another, you have the ability to share that love, to set aside all judgments, and just notice and discern the differences that help to reflect one another and help you understand that you are part of the whole. That your differences complement each other, that your differences help you to see perspectives that are larger and can broaden how you view reality. As you begin more and more to stop seeing through eyes of fear and begin to see through the eyes of love, you can set aside everything that has separated you and begin to offer your own individual gifts and talents in a way that will benefit the whole of humanity. And in doing this, you can step into the role of becoming cosmic citizens. One of the things we would speak to at this time is the principle we just mentioned of Ahimsa. Do no harm does not mean that is only harm to other beings of human nature. It means do no harm to any being. And harm can be perpetrated through negative thoughts. It can be perpetrated through voicing things out loud where the sound is harmful. When you call names or say bad things about other people, those sounds can penetrate and cause damage to the other beings. So we want you to become aware that do no harm is not just about the actions you choose, but it is also about the thoughts that you think and the way that you manifest those thoughts through your voice, the way you express them. Everything is energy. Everything. So when you think a thought, that is energy going out, that is not only floating out of your mind, but it is also penetrating into all others in your environment, and furthermore, all across the planet. Your thoughts carry energy, and when you put them together with sound and vocalize them, the energy is intensified. That process can create an environment that is either pleasant and harmonious, or an environment for the planet that is full of discord, war, strife, competition, judgment, and blame. So you really need at this time to begin to understand the concept of how energy determines your reality. When you understand this, you can move more fully into becoming universal citizens, cosmic citizens. You will automatically raise your vibration, and as you raise your vibration, you will begin to have higher and higher concepts yourself about what it really means to have ahimsa as your governing principle. Do no harm. For you are another yourself every time you look at another living being. That raised consciousness will also help you to begin to understand that do no harm means that you cannot kill to support yourselves. You cannot kill in war because you are fighting for a concept that you believe in. You cannot kill for a religion that you believe, again, supports who you think you are. And you cannot kill for food. For in taking life of any type, you are assuming that the principles of separation, you are assuming that you have the right to do this because you are more important. And that is not a principle of unity. The principles of unity recognize that all energy is valuable, that all life is valuable, and that humans are not the only species in the universe or even on this planet. There are many people who love their dogs or their cats, but think nothing about grabbing a hamburger for dinner. Cows have energy also. They are lives as well. All animals have energy. And you must learn, as part of ahimsa, to reconsider the choices you are making about how you consider what other energies do, who they are in relationship to you, and how you view your place in the universe. Each step you take to broaden your perspectives of do no harm and I am another yourself raises your level of vibratory energy. And as you raise your consciousness collectively together, you can clean up the mess that is on this planet, causing so much distress, so much hunger, so much hatred, so much violence, so much separation and pain. Everything you do from a principle of love, from a principle of sharing, from a principle of do no harm, helps raise your vibration. And as your vibration raises, it helps to raise the vibrations in your environment of others as well, allowing them to see that they also have opportunities to make higher choices, choices based on using their energy in a way that supports all of life. The planet is at a very important point of being able to ascend into a higher vibratory state. You, as a species of conscious thought on this planet, have a great role to play in this ascension process. You have the role to play to awaken from the deep sleep that you have been in, the sleep of believing that you are this or that you are that, or that someone else is this or that. Instead, awakening from that sleep to understand that what you are is simply the principle of love. You are love. You are the highest energy on the planet. You are the highest energy in the universe, in the cosmos. You are love. Many of you are asking at this time, what is my purpose in life? What am I here to do? Why am I so confused? What am I supposed to accomplish? We would say to you to remember that it is far more important how you do something than what it is you are doing. It is the how that matters. Are you doing it with kindness? Are you doing it with love? Are you doing it with judgment and blame and fear? It is the how of what you are doing that is more important. There can be many people who put themselves in a role that they see as quite self-important. I am a doctor. I am a healer. I am a teacher. In that role, I see that I am superior to you. We say that that's not a very good how. A much better how would be to say, I am a human being here to share what I know with you so that you can learn what you need to learn for your own evolution, so that you can heal what is out of balance within yourself. I am another yourself. I'm here to support your becoming all that you can be by sharing with you all that I can be. So you see, from our perspective, everything is energy, and it's much more important for you to present who you are and what you do in terms of what is the vibration of my energy? What is the vibration that I'm sharing with others? Here on this planet, you have the choice to be able to tune your energetic frequency to any channel of recognition that you choose. You can choose to stay in third-dimensional vibration, completely unaware that others in the cosmos exist, completely unaware of a reality that is harmonious and full of love, and only aware of the conflict that exists, full of worry about what's going to happen next, what attack is going to occur, will my family be safe, will I be abandoned by the person I love. You can choose that if you wish. But why would you want to keep such pain in your lives when you have other choices? Why, as you are watching this, would you want to even consider staying in a position that keeps you bound in fear and worry? You have the freedom of the cosmos right at your fingertips. All it is a heartbeat away, a simple breath of love. You live in an environment that is based upon duality, and yet you have chosen to use that duality as a point of separation, me and the other. We are asking you to consider a larger perspective, a more multidimensional perspective. What if you can look at everything in duality as another aspect of the same thing? What if it is like a coin? A simple coin that you hold up that is one coin. When you turn it to one side, you see one face. When you turn it to the other side, you see another face. That is pure duality. But when you look at that coin as two faces, one side or the other, you are based upon separation, and you are not using duality to the best of your ability. When instead you look at that coin and say, it is a simple coin with multiple perspectives, then you are using duality appropriately. We are encouraging you to look at everything that you had separated into any category of this or that, me or other, and ask yourself, how are we similar? How are we sharing the same energetic vibration, but merely from a different perspective? And how can we harmonize our differences so that they become vibrations of unity and have a cosmic wave of song to them? You know, energy can be very musical. We speak through tones. We speak through mathematical and musical tones. We only use the voices of these two humans, Cullen and Pia, so that you may expressly understand what we are saying until you learn intuitively to hear wisdom from other species, other beings in the cosmos. But when you begin to open up your own parameters for listening, you too may begin to communicate through song, through music, through musical tones, through telepathic communication without words. Your hearts will begin to speak, and you will no longer need to remember everything that your mind has taught you is important. Your hearts will begin to lead your mind so that you use them according to the wisdom that your heart has inherently within it. You're on the doorway of a great potential. You're on the doorway of stepping into remembering who you are. You're on the doorway for healing all the things that have caused you trauma, separation, and pain. And all you have to do is to incorporate the single choice to see everything with the eyes of Ahimsa, do no harm, and I am another yourself. As you do this, you recognize that you are pure energy, and you can shapeshift your energy into the form that most easily represents where and who and how you need to be in any given moment. You can then become a cosmic citizen. This is our message for you, and we leave you with this message because we love you, and we wish for you to open to all the potential that you carry within you. We love you. Good always. And now, Kevin, we ask if you would like to extend this portion. We may answer questions that you may have specifically, other than our message of addressing all of humanity.
Why did you choose Pia and Cullen to come through?
We've been working with Pia and Cullen in parallel dimensions for what you would call many, many lifetimes. They have been colleagues of ours. So we waited until they joined their lives together, once again, so that we could then work as a team. There's one thing from the human plane that we find quite necessary for this presentation of energies of all of us together, and that is the concept that Pia and Cullen are humanly very, very different. They see the world through different eyes, even though they hold the same general worldview of love. That polar difference that they have in their humanness prevents any type of filterization in the message that we have to share. It cancels it out, so to speak, so that the message we wish to share comes through purely, without any kind of human filterization. That's the human reason. In the cosmic planes, we chose them because they're highly evolved beings. As we said, we've been working with them multidimensionally for a long time. Neither of them are completely human. Cullen is partly Pleiadian, Pia is partly from the angelic realms. And these vibrational combinations within their human makeup make it quite easily for us to vibrationally integrate the message that we need to share.
That's really beautiful, thank you for that. And do you feel there are others out there who have the same ability to couple together to bring through an energy like yourself? Not yourself, obviously, but higher energies like yourself, where it's more of a, we will see on our planet more people sort of coupling together to do this work.
Absolutely. We call Pia and Cullen the divine couple, but they are certainly by no means the only divine couple. In the principle of I am another yourself, we recognize that there can be many divine couples who can partner together to share information by getting their own personalities open and out of the way and allowing the stream of information to be received through them. There are also many individuals that we call divine also, because you are able to remove the personality out of the way. The key thing at this time for anyone who wants to work with other energies to do is to remove the ego, the personality, and the belief system, so that what comes through is purely what comes through, without any opinion from the person who is presenting it.
Thank you so much. I think you know how much I appreciate this. Just thank you. What is important about the times now, and about the increase in the amount of channels coming onto this planet, or awakening on this planet right now?
As we mentioned earlier, the planet is a point of ascending into a higher vibratory being, a higher vibratory state. As the entire planet is approaching this point of ascension, it is beneficial for all of those who wish to ascend with the planet to open to higher vibrational frequencies themselves. Opening to a higher vibrational frequency automatically allows others to communicate if the person is wishing to. It opens up possibilities of being able to relate to multidimensional frequencies. This is happening because much of the consciousness of humanity is removing itself from thoughts around fear and negative things, and instead opening to possibilities and the concept of love. As that is lived as a concept, it opens up more and more people to be able to communicate telepathically, and the telepathic messages that come through also include the messages from other realms, beings such as us, who wish to share with humanity.
Thank you.
Yes?
Absolutely. Is there, obviously, as you come through now, we're at 2017, the 22nd of August, and what we know right now, there seems to be a lot of the same information out there said in different ways to resonate with people in the way that works for them. Okay. Is there information that you've never really brought through Pia and Cullen that's of a higher understanding than what's currently being brought through?
Very good question. There's nothing we have not shared with Pia and Cullen, but there are things we have not shared with the world at large. May we answer it in that way? We would say that what humanity needs to understand is who you are. You are not some dense physical form. You are something that you can barely touch. You are a reflection of light. You are a reflection of energy. And the more you recognize that you are this energetic form of light and love that is the essence of what makes you human, you begin to understand that human takes on a different form. It is not simply a density that is in physical form. It is a higher vibrational frequency of energies moving together to formulate into the presentation of how you wish to interact in any particular moment. Some people refer to this as a holographic experience. We do not particularly use the holographic experience as our example, but it is related to that very much, for you are reflections of light, and you hold the energy of love. And what is important for humanity to understand at this time, when this documentary is released, is that you must begin to work from the energetic perspective, not from the physical. That way you are able to heal anything that is out of balance immediately. The Lemurians taught many healing techniques, such as what we are speaking of now. The healing techniques require you to be able to shapeshift from one energetic form to another so that you can rebalance yourself multidimensionally. You have 12 strands of DNA within you, not 2, and each of those 12 strands accesses another portal of who you are in another dimension. Beginning to live your lives from the point of light and love, not focusing merely on the physical, allows you to multidimensionally access each of these points of who you are in other dimensions. And it helps you to reformulate your concept about who you are, integrating varying parts of yourselves that have been doing work in other realms, so that you become a more unified species. 12 distinct parts, 12 distinct dimensions, and 12 different aspects of your own DNA, integrating, as you learn to do this, into the 13th form that is the new human. You are still living in a human system where you focus on 2 strands of DNA because of the dualistic perspective of the 3rd dimension. You are now becoming aware that 12 is a very important number. But what has gone wrong on this planet is that you've focused upon the separation of duality, and you've focused upon divisions of 12, and you've left out the key factor of integration. The integrating factor is the 13th energy, and that is the true essence of who you are as the new humans.
Okay. We have this conceptualization, ideas in the spiritual community that when we cross over, we go to a place called home, and that's, everyone has a different understanding of what home is. Some people call it heaven, some people say it's as real as this, so, whatever, that we've all got different understandings of it. But is the actual truth of what the nature of this reality is, and where we go to, even more uncomprehendable than what could be brought through in this present moment right now?
Yes, you have it in a realm that you can understand from your current experience. We would give you this example. Imagine you are standing in a circle in the middle, and looking around that circle you can see 12 doors. You, the person standing in the center, can choose to access any of those doors and go through it. As you do that, you're going into another dimension, and you can find other aspects of yourself in each of those other dimensions. You can bring them back with you to the center of the dimension where you're standing, the integration point, the 13th point. We would call that place home, for that is the place, the point of integration, where you connect with all that is in the universe. That is the point where you accumulate all of the wisdom of who you are. It is the point where you accumulate everything that you have forgotten. This is why we encourage you to broaden your perspectives beyond duality, and certainly beyond thinking there are only 12 hours in a day, 12 months in a year. The 13th number needs to be remembered. It is a powerful number full of potency, and it is in that place of integration that you can remember all of who you are, and then you can access what you need to do to move into the new humans. You are still reflecting as the old form of humanity. You have very much to discover and look forward to.
So if I was to say something crazy like, we talk about past lives, future lives, we don't talk about this present lives in the same way. Is there the possibility that, unbeknown to us, because we've had some forget-me-not on us, that we've relived this same life many times?
That's one way of seeing it, but we do not call it past life and future life. For from our perspective in the cosmic view, there is no time. Time is an aspect of third dimension. It's a linear arrow that takes you from past towards future. The past doesn't exist. It's only in your memory. The future doesn't exist. It's only in your imagination. The only thing that exists is this present moment. However, in varying dimensions, this present moment also exists. So that is where you get what you call the repetition of having done it many times before. It's not actually having done it before, it's actually doing it simultaneously, in another dimension, in another way. That gives you the concept of déjà vu. It makes it feel familiar to you. But through your training of linear time, you perceive this as, oh, I must have done this in another life. You have not quite yet conceptualized, oh, I'm accessing another dimension and I'm doing this in a different way now. That's why it feels familiar. Parallel lives.
Yeah. How many aspects are there of a person maybe potentially living the same parallel life in different potentials?
As humans, you have the 12 that you are working with now. Once you reach the integration point of 13, you can access other dimensions and other possibilities of who you are. But in the human form on your evolutionary path right now, there are 12 aspects of you to connect with. There are infinite dimensions. This is why we do not focus upon the linear perspective of moving from the third dimension into the fourth and then into the fifth. Instead, we encourage you to access all 12 doors, all 12 dimensions that are open to you, and become multidimensional integrated beings. As you become integrated in that 13th energy, then you have the potential to step into a new circle and access more aspects of who you are.
Right.
It's infinite. But your job now is to merely step out of 12 strands of DNA and a dualistic perspective into understanding 12 doors of possibility, 12 dimensions, 12 strands of DNA, not 2, and integrate those into the 13th completing energy. At that point, when you have done that, you are open to much, much more.
How much are we all living in an illusion on this planet? Are we all under some sort of illusion? And is it more of an illusion? It's almost like a movie. I don't know if you. I think of the movie Inception, where it's dream upon dream upon dream, layers of realities created on layers of realities, and it's where's the true me in any aspect then of trying to figure out the bigger nature of reality? Why have I forgotten myself about what I really am? Why go through this in a sense?
How much of your time, individually, each of you watching this, how much of your time do you have a moment of bliss? A moment of, did I really see that? Is that really there? A moment of questioning something that does not fit within your current dimensional understanding. How much time you spend in that realm is how much time you have in your reality. All the rest of it is illusion. So if you have that happen 0.5% of the time, then you're living 99.5% in illusion. If you have that happen on a daily basis, perhaps you're living 5% in reality and 95% in illusion. If it happens to you all the time, you're moving more and more towards multidimensional awareness. It depends on the level of reality that you're actually seeing. Those points where you question, was that really real? Did that really happen? All of those places can be delineated and defined by the joy you feel in the experience. If you feel joy when it is happening, then you are plugged into the true reality.
And if you feel negativity,
that is illusion. Negativity does not exist. It exists because you manifest it. There are forces in the universe of dark. That is real. However, those dark forces serve the light. They can only have power over you because of your choice to invite them in, your choice to align with negativity. They will challenge you to help you grow. They will challenge you and push you so that you move more towards the light. But they cannot harm you unless you move into a state of fear or unless you are aligned somehow in a way that you are truly bringing the battle to the foreground. Many people who have great powers of light around them, Pia and Cullen are two of such, and others that you are documenting also are some of those, will have negative experiences occur to them because the light is trying to be blocked by the dark. That is a collective thing that's going on in the universe. But as an individual, the more you align yourselves with worry and fear, the more you open yourselves automatically to dealing with a world that is based upon worry and fear. When you align yourself more with love and light, you are removing yourself from the density and moving more towards the true reality, moment by moment. It may be quite uncomfortable for some of you. You may find you don't feel you fit anymore in the third dimension. And it's true, you don't. You may find that it is painful or uncomfortable being in the third dimension. And it's true, because you are evolving beyond it. And your discomfort is merely a birth pain. It is merely a growth pain of moving you into where you really know you are involved with multiple dimensional reality.
If we're living, if there are multi-dimensional aspects of the same incarnation now, living different variations of it, how many times has the experiment been going on for?
Well, we don't count times because there's no past and no future. But from your perspective, we would say this battle has been going on quite a long time. You have tales of Atlantis. That is real. You have tales of other catastrophes that have happened on this planet. You have tales of floods. You have tales of all kinds of things. These are happening simultaneously over and over again until your planet gets to the point of ascension where those scenarios are no longer played out, where you recognize the energy that you are and you begin to relate into the higher frequencies.
But we haven't yet, and I wonder even if the future aspects of us that are living out right now, if they have or haven't as well. And if they haven't, what are we doing something wrong? Are we on a repeat cycle all the time? Is that why we've become awakened in this lifetime and others haven't? Because we've just done it so many? Is something at fault?
As a species, you're doing almost everything to keep yourself in a loop. We would not say wrong, for we do not judge. So we would not call it right or wrong, but you certainly keep yourself in a loop. You keep repeating the same things over and over because you never allow the space to integrate them. You have dismissed the energy of 13 from your entire existence. You take the 13th floor off of a building. You ignore 13. You call it unlucky. You do not allow yourself the space for integration, so therefore you continue to loop around. When you get to the 12th month of the year, you decide it's time for a new year. It's not even an accurate calendar system because it has to be adjusted every 4 of your human years to your artificial sense of timing. It's not based on reality. Therefore, your belief in such a system of timing keeps you caught into a loop of repetitive behaviors over and over again. So yes, you are indeed making choices to keep yourself stuck in this loop. And those of you who are awakening are beginning to have a very different concept of energy. You're beginning to understand that you need to do things in the energetic moment. You need to not schedule things according to a specific Gregorian calendar, but according to energy. Now that requires in the transitional period that you do honor time commitments you make with others. For in the sense of ahimsa, do no harm, you do not wish to keep others waiting because you're waiting for the right energetic moment. You make an agreement to do something in a specific energy and you keep it. So therefore you have to work with the system you have here on this planet for a while. But the more you tune into your telepathic awareness, your deep connection with nature, which is missing on this planet, then you will begin to understand what is the proper moment, and you won't have to align things with a calendar to set appointments. You'll simply know it's the moment to do this, it's the moment to do that, and you will do it. That's going to take a lot of practice because you have separated yourselves from nature. You have separated yourselves from natural cycles. You don't understand because you look at everything through the eyes of technology and the mental realm. You've separated out the nature's wisdom, the system of understanding cosmic cycles, and the wisdom of the heart. So yes, you are making choices that very much keep you in separation and pain and repeating the same lessons over and over again.
Then, have I, in some other aspect, how many times have we done this before? How many times have I been connected to you before in a room like this, having this interview?
Well, we would have to answer that by looking in a whole different viewpoint than the purpose of this interview. But we would say that if you want to ask individual questions about what you have done specifically, then you open up to looking at all the other dimensions that are coinciding collectively right now. From your perspective, you may have done this many times in other dimensions, but it's also possible you have never experienced it exactly like this, so it's all brand new. Rather than focusing on how many times it may have occurred already or where it exists in another dimension, we would say, bring your consciousness to a question such as this into the present moment and say, what can I collect from other dimensions to bring into this total moment, to integrate it, to make it fully what it can be? That is the question to help you learn how to begin to integrate all other aspects. When you ask the question, how many times have I done this before? You keep your awareness focused upon linear time, past and future. When you say, how can I bring other aspects of me doing this in other realms into here now, you bring yourself into the present and you're able to integrate the other aspects simultaneously. Does that make sense to you?
It does, and the only reason I asked how many times have I done now, from the perspective of, has it not worked out?
Everything works out. Some things just work out differently because of choices that you make. It works out differently to give you different experiences, and then those different experiences are added in to create the commonality, the totality of what is being integrated. When you work through each experience and integrate it in totality, then you are ready to open to a new experience. Until you open to integrating everything, you repeat many things over and over again because you do not have yet obtained all the aspects that are necessary for integration. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes. It just feels like an eternal loop until we get it right. And how long have we been on the loop? And how long have we sort of deluded ourselves on that loop?
Do you know what a Mobius strip is?
I don't know.
It's a mathematical term. It has to do with, you might perceive it as an infinity loop.
Right.
It is a circle that has become crossed so that it appears there's a knot in the center. And there is a loop of energy on either end. You move in your loops around in Mobius strips from one side to the other, flipping back and forth, having the same experience. As you begin to recognize, oh, this end of the infinity loop is exactly identical to the other end of the infinity loop. Look, it's a reflection. I am another yourself. As you move that infinity loop, which looks like a figure 8 for those of you who do not know what it looks like, as you begin to focus on each side as identical and a reflection of the other, you can straighten out the Mobius strip or the infinity loop and it becomes a circle, a whole. You are unified. It is in that mathematical equation of energy that you become integrated, and that is what allows you to move into the next aspect of discovery.
Okay, so how would people watching this integrate them? If they can integrate other aspects of this current life right now being lived out in different variations, how could they bring some of those aspects into this present moment and make this present moment even more aligned and more empowered because you're bringing other aspects in?
The best way to do that is to stop your judgments of what is happening. Release all judgments and begin just to notice what is happening around you. Don't judge it. Then when you do that, it frees your spirit and opens your mind so that your heart can lead the way. And when your heart is leading the way, you telepathically begin to receive messages from other dimensions and other aspects of yourself. When those messages come in, sort of like a déjà vu, when you say this is familiar, you can begin to say, oh, I'm integrating. So it doesn't happen through a mental process. It happens through releasing the mental thoughts, the judgments, the beliefs, and instead moving into your heart. So that in that heart space, you are then able to say, I'm experiencing something I'm not familiar with. I wonder what this means, and just explore it. In the exploration, you begin to live more in the present moment because you are focusing on what is happening right now. And without judgment about it, but just simply experiencing it, you allow other dimensional aspects of that very moment to come into this one in order for you to more fully integrate it. So don't think too much. Stop your thinking and begin to listen with your heart. Let your heart lead your thoughts.
Is it possible that the other me's and the other people's me's as well out there in parallel universes, they're having the same conversations to try to increase their level?
Yes, it is possible. It is likely. All of you are beginning to have experiences. Those of you who are on this path of dedication, those of you who wish to awaken, all of you who are on that frequency, that joint frequency, are beginning to bump into people that you say, I've known this person forever, even though you just met them. That's because you work with them in another dimension. You're all having that experience. So you see, it's not something you have to seek out. It's something that occurs automatically when you simply open your heart.
What about those who will never wake up? Is that because they've had a soul contract maybe not to?
There is no soul contract to never wake up. There is the choice always available to wake up when you choose to wake up. Each human has the choice of when to wake up. This is an exciting time, and many of you are here to help the awakening process. You had a contract to come here and do that. Others' contracts are not about helping the awakening process. So they are here to have that experience. And when their experience is over, they will go on to the next experience. You are here to help integrate all experiences to evolve into the new species. Anyone can do it. There's no division of labor. Contracts can be changed. It's by human choice and by the practice of ahimsa and love.
So that soul who never had an awakened experience in this lifetime, would they be able to come back to once it's made aware to them that it would have been more? Would it be made aware to them that it would have been better to have awoken up? Because once they've crossed over, aren't you automatically awakened then?
There is no better and no worse. We do not make judgmental distinctions. There is only doing it one way or another. A soul that makes no desire to awaken at this incarnation, this time on the planet Earth, but has only been here to have certain experiences, will go on to have other experiences in what you call the cycle of karma. It is a cycle that continues your educational growth. Those who awaken cease to have karma because you become aware of the repercussions of every thought, every feeling, and every action you have. At an awakened state, you no longer choose anything that is harmful to yourself or anyone or anything else. So karma is no longer created. Those who do not awaken continue on what you call the wheel of karma, experience after experience of experience, going into one dimension and then another, but not simultaneously. They are having unified experiences because that is their choice.
Could it be possible that this is the truth that I want to hear right now, but actually the truth, the bigger picture truth, is even bigger than what's coming through you right now, through Pia? That actually there's even a truth that's bigger than this, but it takes free will to ask the question.
That is possible. It also takes a greater ability to listen to the answers. It's not just asking the questions, it's listening to the information that is provided. So both are involved. At a certain level of awareness, you ask certain questions. At another level of awareness, you stop asking questions and you simply listen. And in the listening, you find the answers all are right there in your own heart. So for the purposes of this interview, of course you have to ask questions, but you're helping to reach all different levels of awareness that are watching your documentary. But on your own, anyone on their own can simply quiet their mind and listen to their heart and find all the answers are right there. We simply share our perspective in order to help you learn how to do that. We don't know more than you do. We simply have a different perspective. You have forgotten much, and we are here to help you remember how to awaken to all that you already know and to integrate it so you may move into the next stage of being human.
Would it be a shock to you that there maybe is another framework of spirituality that's out there?
Nothing shocks us. We are open to everything. We know that the power of love is always at work, and always the highest good is in mind for all of us beings in the cosmos. So if we find something else of which we are unaware, we are delighted to explore it and ask, how can we serve? How can we connect?
It's almost like, this reality to some people, it feels as though, what if we've already crossed over? What if the whole idea of the next process is death from where we die and we go back home? Or some people will call that process. What if that's already happened?
Well, that is not a weird question at all. That is a question of awareness. That is a question comes to the point of recognizing that you are capable of moving through dimensions and that part of your experience here now is multidimensional. So you're accessing higher frequencies. You're acting from a higher vibrational state when you have that awareness. Of course, you may put any spin on it you like. You may divide it and say, I've already crossed over, I'm on the other side. But that's from a dualistic third-dimensional perspective, mind you. To see it and experience it as this is just an experience is the elevated place of recognizing multidimensionality exists, and you exist within multidimensionality.
Well, yes, absolutely. And when I asked that, okay, well, thank you. When I asked that question, well, what if I've already crossed over? Sorry, I should have added as well. What if this is a lovely reflection back to myself so that the crossing over process is easier? So this is my illusion of something I can't explain, but I'm trying to put some context to it, that if I have crossed over and all this is just my illusion, it's a pretty amazing illusion, but could we see things from that perspective, that actually what we think this is not what we think it is at all?
Your thoughts get into the way of your being able to see, actually. You tend to see life and death as separate. Something is living, and when something dies, it is gone. It is not gone, it's simply changed energetic forms. That does not mean that you have necessarily crossed over. It means you have changed forms, merely that. We will refer to what Pia calls the swinging door. She says there's a swinging door between life and death, and she goes through it with just pushing the door, and it swings back and forth quite easily. She has died in this third-dimensional human form 3 times in this current lifetime, what you would call certified dead by your hospital and medical facilities, and yet she has come back to life again 3 separate times. Therefore, her perspective of life and death is quite different than the questions you are asking. And she laughingly says it's a swinging door. You go back and forth at will once you learn how to do it. That, we would say, is possible for all humans. When you stop this dualistic thinking of it's either this or it's that, and begin to understand that everything is connected, you are able to use the swinging door and go back and forth through dimensions at will. We call the higher vibrational state of the new humans the rainbow body. It is a merging of your current physical form, which is raised to a higher vibrational state, and your etheric or light body form. Those two merge together to give you some density, but not the density you carry now. And in the rainbow body state, you can easily move back and forth through dimensions and be in one place or another, in form, not just in light.
if the true nature of what reality is hidden from us in some respects, because we need to get on with this human experience. Yeah? So to know the actual ness of everything, the trueness of everything, this would be over in some respects. Or is that the illusion to never look further?
The illusion is looking outside of the present moment. That is the illusion. Looking into the present moment for what are the gifts of this experience, that is the reality. Even if you are having a painful moment, even if it is something that is stretching you and you feel is not good, that is the experience. And to ask yourself, what is the gift in this moment, in this experience? What am I gaining for this? That is the way to properly look at any moment, so that you are fully engaged with it. And then when you're done with it, you can move on to the next moment and not need to look back. Most humans look at whatever they're going through and they're continually looking on how can I get out of this or what can I do next. They're not fully engaged, just watching, observing, asking what am I gaining from this? What am I seeing? What am I experiencing? So that you can integrate it and then move on to the next experience. So the way to enjoy each present moment is to fully accept it. And if it's painful, say, what is this pain teaching me? And at the same time, simultaneously remember, everything changes. So if this is painful, this moment I'm experiencing will also change. And I will take from it what I can to enhance my own evolution.
Okay. I have to still go back to the point, though, that if all truth has been brought out so far, if everything that's true has been brought out so far, so all the understanding is what we conceptualize this to be, and the way that spirituality works, if all that's been brought to the table and there's nothing more and that's it, what if there was more? And we are not. There's something deluded from us so that we don't see the more.
There is always more. There is always more. The universe is infinite. You are expanding.
How do we get into that more? How do we get past the illusion of what's maybe stopping us from seeing it and see the more?
To stop looking for it. Be with the present moment. Being fully in the present, appreciating the gifts of the present, automatically opens you to the more that you are seeking. But when you seek it in your mind, you are locked into third-dimensional reality. You are stuck within the confines of what you have created through your thoughts here in this dimension. By staying in the present moment and being thankful for what is happening, being grateful for the gifts, and being fully in the present moment, you automatically open your heart and your mind to the more that exists, and then it can come to you to greet you. You just have to remain open for it. That's your job. Remain open and grateful.
So when we cross over then, or that's just a human terminology I'm using there, when we took our last breath here and we're then opening our eyes in some other dimensional level or some place that has no name, right, but some place where we are now, we're going back to, is anything more made aware to us then?
Yes. The veil of forgetfulness falls away, and you're able to see things from a broader perspective. So yes, that does happen. But it does not happen for all. There are many souls who die, as you call them, dying here on this planet. Yes. And when they are in the other realms, they are still not awakened to see the all. They simply are given their karmic lessons and able to see a broader perspective where they could have made other choices. But that does not mean they are automatically, cosmically able to see the all. They have to go through the process of the swinging door in a perspective that is open, aware, and willing to learn what else there is. It depends, again, on the individual choice. As they are dying and moving into that new realm, are they open? Are they surrendering? Are they eager to meet those who are on what you call the other side? Or are they limited to believing, only my Uncle Jimmy can meet me, or I have to find my dead mother? This is all that exists, focusing their lives upon third-dimensional beliefs. If that is what they believe when they go through that process, most likely the energy that they expect to find will be the energy that helps open them to what they need to see about their life. They will not be ready to see other, larger, more reality that you are speaking of. Just because you're dead doesn't mean you're more open or awakened or wise. It means you've changed an energetic state, but it does not necessarily mean you automatically get to see all that is. That is a determination of human choice. How have you lived your life? What have you chosen in your death process? And what do you choose when you wake up in another state? What are your choices? Humans do not understand the power of choice. You believe that you only have choices to certain realms. You go to the doctor and say, "What's wrong with me?" You tell me, you fix it. And you don't take the choice to heal yourselves. You think when you die, everything opens up to you automatically. Not unless you choose to remember. Choice is far larger and more important than you recognize.
Could you choose to come back to this lifetime again if you wanted to?
You could come back to another experience of this lifetime. It may not be on this planet, but you would believe that you are repeating the same thing if that were your choice. But you would be on a different planet, for this planet is no longer supporting that type of karmic process.
But it has done before.
It has done before, yes.
But no more.
Not at the current energetic moment.
Would you, I suppose would it be called Earth still that you'd go back to?
No, you may call it Earth. We would not. You will think it is Earth if you make that choice.
Have I made that choice? Are we making that choice now?
Those who are watching this documentary are not making that choice. They are choosing to evolve to a higher frequency. The ones who are asleep would be the ones who would make the choice to go to another planet, to continue their experience, their dream, their illusion.
The same illusion we're having now?
More or less.
How would I know that I'm not, just because I'm watching this documentary, how does that make me know that I'm not in some other Earth somewhere else compared to the one that I may have come from? That was, as though I've not passed a test. How do I know that? I wouldn't know, would I?
It's not a mental question. It's a question you know in your heart. Your heart tells you the truth. Your heart lets you know where you are, what you're doing, how you're proceeding. It's not an answer that can be obtained in the mind.
Is that why some people just pass on early sometimes, because they've woken up that maybe this wasn't what I thought it was, and actually become aware of the greater reality?
Not necessarily. It's an energetic choice to be able to expand and evolve your understanding. But that does not mean just because you've expanded and understood that you make the same choice to leave the planet. Many people have awakened and understand there is a larger reality, but they have signed contracts or made agreements that they do not wish to unvalidate to be able to stay and help this planet ascend, to help others. So there are different levels of choices. Choices to awaken, choices to serve, choices to continue bound by things that do not serve, many levels of choice.
Where does God fit into all this?
God is a concept that humans have designed for yourselves to disempower yourselves so that you believe somebody else will take care of you. Somebody else will take your responsibility. Somebody else will forgive you if you do something wrong. Somebody else will take care to making everything all right. God is a concept that humans have instituted, particularly through the structure of religion, to disempower the divinity of who you are. You don't need a God to oversee who you are, to take care of you, to forgive you, or to punish you. What you need is an awareness and an understanding of your own divinity, that you are all divine sparks of light, that you are connected to the all that is, that you are connected to Source. That is the greater reality. God is an illusion. Divinity, higher respectful divinity, Source, consciousness, that is not an illusion. That is reality.
What about other channelers out there in this time frame right now that would say different to that? Who would say that those who do not bring God into the mix, that is the perfect reason not to ascend?
We would say, from the perspective that we see it, what they are saying is those who do not wish to bring love into the mix. They define it as God, but we define God as a source of something outside of yourself. Many people would define God as something that lives within them. If it is defined as something that lives within you, as your own divine spark, your own connection to Source, then they're saying the same thing that we are. It's all a matter of semantics. But to take it as a power that lives outside of you is disempowering for humanity. It does not help you on your evolutionary path. To define it as something that lives within you, that is connected to all that is the same thing that we are saying. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. And obviously you must be aware from the space where you're at of other channelers out there and other entities that they're connecting with.
We are.
And are those entities at different levels?
We do not make judgments, but we would say this. There are many humans who wish to bring energies in and do not have the discriminatory abilities to understand the information they are receiving or to choose who is going to be bringing the information in. So many times the messages become confused or distorted. This is why it is so important for each person who is listening to what you call a channeled message to ask their heart, does this resonate? Is it true? Because humans will filter in through their own belief system. And those who wish to bring in information who are not attuned to the highest frequencies may bring in energies that are based upon fear rather than energies that are based upon love. So we would not judge any of this. What we would say is the human has the responsibility for listening to your heart to say, does this resonate with truth? Does this help me to understand the greater reality? For instance, someone listening to us and listening to the question you ask about God can turn off immediately the moment we say, God is not something that is real, God is outside of yourself, because they have a belief system that God has to be there. But if they didn't turn off this documentary and they listened further and they heard us say, God is something within you, if you view it from that vantage point, then it is Source, then they've moved beyond their limited thinking and they've understood concepts that broaden them. So humans have to pay attention to what they're taking in and what resonates and where their own belief systems limit them, how much they're willing to listen to the entire story, how much they know automatically, this is not true and I'm turning it off. You have to be able to listen to your heart, not your mind, not your beliefs.
What if this universe and the multi-universes have breathed in and breathed out before, so the Big Bang, as what we humans call the Big Bang, has happened before, and the universe has breathed itself in and breathed itself out. From the nothingness comes the everything, and it's happy. It's been on. You know, that's part of the reason for it happening before, is that the universe has happened before as well.
We would say to you, the point is to be in the present moment of the universe now, not think about whether it has happened before or not. Be here in the present moment. What does it matter if it's happened before? What matters is what is happening now.
I tell you why I refer to that is because that feeling that I can't shake, that yes, now is your point of power is now, yes, but how many times are we doing this? And I know you've answered that in this perspective. I'm picking that up from parallel lives. The feeling that it's been done before, but I just can't shake that feeling that we have been doing this forever and we've not got it right. So,
dear one, that is your invitation to enter into other aspects of yourself and to integrate them. It's not about it is not about how many times you've done it before. The feeling you can't shake is your invitation to recognize the similarities by knowing you're integrating other dimensions. It's not about before, it's about now. Focus on the now. You're inviting in, when you have a feeling like this you can't shake, you're inviting in a higher level of awareness. So don't shake the feeling, invite it in. Explore it, expand it. Don't try to figure it out. Let it happen to you and with you. Thank you for this time and this opportunity to be with you. We've enjoyed sharing and conversing. It is important to us to learn from you through your questions, for what we learn from you as humans helps us to help you with our perspective. This is why we have chosen Pia and Cullen and asked them to have dialogues with others across the planet with us. We are communicating multidimensionally across species when we do this. We are also recognizing that we are all the same. We are another yourselves. You are another of us. We love you. Good always.
Thank you.
Guru Brahma